Greetings, this is Professor Welch again. We're talking more about the subject of police writing. I want to start out with a little review of the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment states that no warrant shall issue without a particular description describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Agents have to describe the place with reasonable certainty. What can agents search for? Well, they can search for evidence of a crime, contraband, fruits of a crime, or other items illegally possessed. They can search for property designed for use, intended for use, or used in committing a crime, or a person to be arrested, or a person who is unlawfully restrained. Now there's a very important word here called particularity, P-A-R-T-I-C-U-L-A-R-I-T-Y. What is the particularity requirement? The Fourth Amendment requires that the thing to be seized must be described with particularity. This makes sure that a search is confined to its scope to the particular described evidence that relates to the crime for which the agent demonstrated probable cause. Also, there must be an affidavit to show someone that submits an affidavit has to have personal knowledge about that particular evidence being in that particular place, and it must be dated and signed. I know there's currently an issue. There was a FISA warrant obtained, and many people are wondering what was the affidavit that supported the FISA warrant, and the news is asking for that affidavit to be released to see who described with particularity the information that should have been taken. Now, another concept we need to know is the Fifth Amendment and the Miranda warnings. The Miranda is a very important case. The Fifth Amendment provides for protection of individuals against self-incrimination. Under the Miranda case, police are required to inform the suspect of their Miranda rights after a person has been taken into custody, which is detained by the police, and before interrogation has taken place, of their right to remain silent. And anything that they say may be used against them. And they have a right to an attorney, and if they can't afford one, one will be appointed for them by the law. Custody is where the person is in an environment where they think that they cannot leave. So there's an issue. What if the police fail to give the Miranda warnings? Does the criminal go free? On a personal note, my own daughter is a public defender in the state of Utah, and she has been appointed many times to be the voice of the voiceless and provide legal counsel to those who could not afford such. I remember I had a student when I was teaching law, and he and his mother had been taken and put in jail overnight in a local county near Los Angeles. And when he appeared before the judge asked the police officer if he had been Mirandized. And my student said, no, my mother and I were never Mirandized. And the judge turned to the officer and says, is this true, officer? And the officer said, yes, I left my Miranda card home. I guess the card that the police carries has the Miranda warnings, and he had failed to give the Miranda warning at that time. And my student and his mother were allowed to go free. So this is a very important case that you must know. There are some other terms you need to be aware of. Corpus delicti, that refers to the elements, the particular elements of a crime. I gave you the example of burglary, the breaking and entering into the dwelling house of another, and so forth. Each of those elements have to be established, and it's called the corpus delicti, or the elements of a crime. There's also the term of chain of custody, that the police must account for the custody of, say, taking blood samples or whatever they have. I know many times as an attorney I would have a police officer testify, and as part of the foundation we would establish the chain of custody of the particular item that I wanted to offer into evidence. So that's very important. Another term you'll hear is a bench warrant. Suppose a person does not appear in a court such as traffic court, and they're ordered to do so under a subpoena from the court. Well, the court may issue a bench warrant. So if that person is ever found out and about, they're arrested to enforce the orders of the court. So it's important to learn these various terms as part of police report writing, and they also are basic definitions in the legal area. This will be the end of this particular recording, and then we'll go to another recording.